Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt with OddsJam, and I'm home for the holidays. That's why I see a little bit of a different background, but we have two Monday Night Football games tonight, so I have two games to analyze and to give predictions for and picks. The first one is this Browns versus Raiders game. So obviously this was supposed to be played on Saturday. COVID wrecked everything, just like it wrecks everything, and it's now moved to Monday, 5 p.m. East time. So the huge news out of this one that came out this morning is that the Browns won't have their starting quarterback or their backup quarterback. So that means they're going to be starting Nick Mullins. You may remember Nick Mullins from his 49ers days. I remember him because he was with the Eagles this offseason in training camp, and he looked very bad. Sorry, I just messed with my headphones here. So not a good look for the Browns. Obviously, they need this win to stay in the playoff hunt as the NFC or AFC North is becoming a little bit of just a battle. Unfortunately, they're not going to have both of their starting or backup quarterback, which is why, as you can see on the screen here, the Raiders are heavy favorites. So when I first looked at the line today at about 11 a.m., the Raiders were minus 120. That's the best odds you can get. Now they're all the way up to minus 135. So lines are just ripping towards the Raiders, and I'm not going to tell you differently, to be honest with you. So my pick, and this isn't going to be super profound, I'm taking the Raiders straight up. The spread, if you want to mess with that, I don't think is a terrible play. So it looks like it's settled on the Raiders minus 2.5. There is some positive expected value there with the Raiders OddsJam perfect line at them minus 2.5 being minus 117. You can get that on WinBet at minus 105. I do think that's a good bet. But for me, if betting on this game, I'm taking the Raiders money line at minus 135 on BetMGM. When the money line is that low, I generally don't like messing with the spread in case there's some random backdoor cover stuff. There's no bad beat worse than a backdoor cover if you have, if you're on the losing side of that. So, not a ton of analysis here, but when a team's missing their starting and their backup quarterback and they had to sign someone off the practice squad, or I can't remember if he was on the practice squad, Nick Mullins, or if he just hadn't been getting any reps, but that's not a great look for that team. So other injury news. The main one for the Raiders is they're missing Darren Waller. He's been out for a couple weeks now. That just means the GOAT, Hunter Renfrow, is going to be getting more passes. So for this game, Browns-Raiders, just give me the Raiders money line. Looking at the total points, I there's also some plays that I don't hate. So to me, this screams under, in a situation where, again, the Browns, I can't say this enough, are on their third-string quarterback. The Raiders' offense has been terrible recently. So if you look at their schedule, their offense, it seems like every year with the Raiders where they start hot, they have some great games early, and then they just go in the tank. So recently they had. So let's look at their recent games. They put up 30 points in back-to-back games, right, in October. 33 against my Eagles, 16 against a bad Giants team, 14 against a Chiefs defense that came on hot, 13 against the Bengals, a hit-or-miss defense. This is a good game against the Cowboys. That was a good win. I was very happy to see that. 36 points against the Cowboys, good game. 15 against the Washington football team, and then 9 against the Chiefs. So their offense has really been scuttling recently. Whereas the Browns' defense isn't great. If you want to look at their schedule, their defense has been giving up a decent amount of points as well. But I don't think, obviously, I'm not worried about it because of the COVID issues that the Browns are having. So, if you look at the Browns, 41 points. 45 points to the Patriots. 22, they let the Ravens come back. The defense has been better as of late. The Chargers game was bad in October. The Chiefs game week 1, obviously. But the Browns defense has been a little bit disappointing recently, but they've actually been better than I remember looking at their schedule. The under 41 I like as well. That's going to be another one of my plays. So the OddsJam perfect line is at a minus 113. We're getting it at minus 110. If you want to keep buying points, the difference between the OddsJam perfect line and the best odds get better and better up until the under 42.5. But I'm perfectly comfortable taking this under 110. I'm going to put more on the money line, I'm going to make sure that if the money line hits and the under doesn't, that I'm still going to profit because I'm way more confident in the money line of the Raiders. So as far as picks for that game, those are going to be my two: Raiders money line, under 41. And then let's look at the positive EV page to see, if there are any plays for this game that I like as well. So first glance, I have this scheduled for today. Looks like there are 3 Derek Carr under at half interception, Hunter Renfrow over 6.5 receptions, and then the first half under 22.5. So the Hunter Renfrow receptions I like. 7 is a lot, and the let's look at his stats. If you look at his recent games, he's been, what was it, 6.5? He's had over 6.5 every single game except for one since October. And that's a play you get for positive value. Obviously, as you can see here, it's a little bit over the market width that I like to bet. The market width there is 42, as you can see. And the OddsJam Perfect Line has it at minus 164. You can get that on Caesars at minus 130. I do like that one. Of all of the plays, I think I would sprinkle a little bit on that just based on my Kelly Criterion method. I would put 30 on that. But the play that I'm more confident in is this under first half points. Obviously, I'm taking the under in the game, under 41.5. And the first half under is just as juicy to me. And I can see this being a game where if the Browns are able to find their stride, it would be in the second half because they're just going to spend the first half kind of working some kinks out, would be my guess. I'm not predicting that, but if I did have to predict something, that's how it would be. So of these two plays, I'm going to take them both. But if I had to choose one, I would choose this first half under 22.5. I know the odds are bad at minus 140, but it's a play that I really like. I'm very, very confident in it. So to recap my plays for the first Monday Night Football game, I'm going to do Raiders money line at minus 135 on BetMGM. I'm going to do the total points under 41.5. So I'm buying that extra point, or extra half point, I should say, at minus 110. And that is on DraftKings. And then for the 2 positive EV plays, I actually am going to end up adding the Hunter Renfrow one because, when you look at the history of that, he's Derek Carr's number 1 target. He's just an animal. And with Darren Waller out, that's when he does all his damage. So my first positive expected value play is going to be Hunter Renfrow over 6.5 receptions, minus 130 on Caesars, and then I'm going to stick with the under, and I'm going to load this first half under 22.5 points. So those are going to be my 4 plays for the first Monday Night Football game. And then the next game, this Bears-Vikings game, not as bad COVID issues. The Bears, if you want to look at the Gamecast, are having some issues with their cornerbacks. I believe they're out their top 2 or 3 cornerbacks. And the only real injury status for the Vikings is Adam Thielen. But, missing 2 cornerbacks and their top safety, Tashaun Gibson, that's tough, especially when you're going against an offense like or not really. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, but Justin Jefferson is just an absolute animal. Going against him is just. Wait, did I close out the wrong one? I meant to. So let me pull up the odds that I had up. So right now, the looks like the OddsJam Perfect Line has the Bears at plus 239 and the Vikings at minus 276. So there isn't a ton of positive expected value there. Obviously, taking the Vikings at minus 270 is steep. I do think the Vikings win, but I wouldn't recommend taking someone taking odds as bad as minus 270. So if we're looking at the point spread, if you want to see where the value is there. So it looks like the odds are settling on the Bears plus 6.5, plus 7. And looks like the interesting part is that all of the times where there is some positive expected value, not a ton, and this is not removing the VIG, is all on the Bears. So it starts at the Bears plus 5. Obviously, like I said, it's not a ton. It's the OddsJam Perfect Line is plus 115. The Bears are plus 116. That's on Barstool. Again, only 1 point, plus 109, plus 1.5, plus 110. Again, 1 point. And as you can see, the times where there's the biggest difference between what the OddsJam perfect line has and what the odds you're getting is when you have to buy a little bit more. So you get the Bears at plus 7.5, and this has the biggest difference in the OddsJam perfect line. The 7 tied with just the 7 here tied with the sorry, I lost my train of thought. The 7 different point difference in the OddsJam perfect line versus what you're getting on FanDuel is 7 points right here. That's minus 130. Bears plus 7.5. I'm not super confident in it. I don't have a ton of faith in this Bears team, especially missing as much of the secondary as they are. So for me, I'm not touching the spread on this one. Again, it's not something that I'm super confident in. The lines are, if you're looking at the OddsJam perfect line, trending towards the Bears. So if I was going to recommend something, I'd probably settle on this Bears plus 7.5. So you get that extra half point if they only lose by a touchdown. This bet still hits, but at minus 130 odds, I'm not super confident in it. The Vikings are such a hit or miss team. If you look at their schedule, I believe they've had a 7-point lead at some point in every single game they've played, but they're sitting at 6 and 7. They have some legitimately good wins against the Chargers, against the Packers, less so against the Steelers. I mean, they gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter, 28 in the second half to the Steelers. That's not great. And then they have some just atrocious losses. So they lost to the Lions, gave them their first win. This Cowboys loss doesn't look bad on paper, but if you remember, this is a game that Dak Prescott didn't play, so they lost to the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys. As you can see here, it gave them over 300 yards. Even further back, I mean, they put up a stinker against the Browns, 14-7. This Cardinals game they should have won, but they missed a field goal, like a 30-yard field goal with time running out. So the Vikings kind of seem like a team that plays down or up to their competition. And the spread at 7.5, they haven't won a game by over 7.5, aside from the Steelers game last week where they won by 8. If you look at all their wins, they beat the Panthers in OT by 6, the Chargers by 7, the Packers they won by a field goal. The Seahawks was their last win that they had over 7.5, and that was week 3 of the NFL season. And as we've seen with the Seahawks, they're not a great team. So again, if I had to give out a pick, which I am, I would take the Bears plus 7.5. But that is not going to be one of my official picks. It's just if I had to put something out there, if that makes sense. So looking at the total, if you want to see if there's anything there. So it looks like the total is settling on over 45, about 45, 46, depending on what book you use. The biggest play of positive expected value is this over 45. There's a 9-point difference there between the OddsJam perfect line and what you're getting on FanDuel. And it looks like traditionally the over is what is trending. So over 43.5, you get 6 points. Over 44, another 6 points. Over 45 is the highest at 9. And then all the way down to under 48, where the odds are so bad that it's not, minus 145 and then minus 150 under 48.5. But for me, the best play I think for this game, if you're just looking at the main markets, money line point spread total, is this over 45. I like that a lot with the Vikings defense being as hit or miss as it is. Justin Fields has also been kind of hit or miss, but I could see this being a game where he has a good one. But especially the reason why I like it is because of the Bears having such injury troubles in the secondary. I could see this being a game where Justin Jefferson goes for 8 receptions, over 150 yards. I could see Dalvin Cook having a good game because they're trying so hard to sell out for the pass that Dalvin Cook has some rushing lanes. I could also see this be a big KJ Osborne game, the new Vikings receiver with Adam Thielen out. I'm just trusting the targets in the passing game for the Vikings, which leads me to believe the over 45. 45 isn't a ton of points. I know that I'm taking the under 41 in the other game, but that's entirely different. So my official play for the main market for this game is going to be over 45. Again, that is minus 110 on FanDuel. So let's refresh this positive EV page, see if there's anything for today. So it looks like the only one is this Kirk Cousins under 32.5 passing attempts. Again, this is a play. Actually, it did look like the one appeared for the Browns Raiders. Raiders first half money line -120. I'm going to go ahead and add that one. I'll just say that right now. I'll do a recap at the end with all my plays, but this one I do like a lot. Sorry to sidetrack there. But the only one is this Kirk Cousins under 32.5 passing attempts. The market width is a little bit wider than we like. And, I'm not, looking at Kirk Cousins, he is, let's look at his stats to see how many times he's gone under. Because he's actually had a sneaky good year. It's just that the fact that he's Kirk and the Vikings have been so up and down that nobody really cares. But let's see how often he's gone under the 32.5 attempts. Looks like the last time he did, so we did that last week, he went exactly 31. He went 32 against San Francisco, 28 against Baltimore, and then 32 against Arizona. So basically the point of looking at this is more often than not, he goes over that amount. I mean, you saw he had 49 against the Bengals, 40 against Detroit, 48 against Carolina. I'm not confident in this one way or another to make it an official pick. If I had to guess, I probably would say he would go under, but I'm not nearly as confident in that pick as I am A, the over in this game, and B, all the plays that I have for the Raiders-Browns game. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one alone. I'll give it one more refresh to see if anything changes. If that one ends up hitting, so be it. I'd rather, I'll take that. I'd rather put something out there that I'm confident with. So to recap for this Bears-Vikings game, the only play I'm going to have is this over 45 total points. So to do a recap of all my plays today, it's going to be Raiders money line at -135. Is going to be the Raiders, and that is on BetMGM. It's going to be the Raiders Browns under 41.5. That is, again, -110 odds. And let me pull up the book on that just to remember. So the book on that is going to be, where is that? I guess the odds changed. So now it was -110. Now it's -120. That's the point of locking stuff in early. So now it looks like, funny enough, there is no positive expected value play on the under unless you go all the way to 42.5. That's unfortunate. I guess that's, these things change. So I guess that's no longer going to be one of my plays because the odds have went from -110 to -120. I do think that it hits. The best you can get are on Unibet and Barstool at -118, but the odds just got a little bit worse. But the under 41, either way, I still think that that's a good play. And then the positive EV plays. So it looks like the under odds changed for that as well. So I'm taking the first half money line, Raiders -120, and I'm taking this Hunter Renfrow over 6.5 receptions -130. And then again, the last play is this Bears Vikings over 45 total points. So those are going to be my plays for today. And again, that one is on FanDuel. Those are going to be my plays for the Monday Night Football game. Sorry that the odds happened to change while I was recording. That's kind of I'm glad that happened. Just because it highlights the importance of locking a bet in as soon as you see it, because the odds change so quickly. So, the under 41 was -110. About 10 minutes later, it's now -120, and there's no longer a positive value between the OddsJam perfect line with the VIG removed. But those are going to be my plays, and that's all I got for you. So I'm happy that we have 2 Monday Night Football games. We got 2 Tuesday Night Football games, so 4 more games of football to watch. But that's all I got for you. So let me know what you think. You can hit me up on Twitter at my handle below, Modi_sports. You can also email me, Matthew at oddsjam.com, or you can hit me up in the comments of the video. I make sure to check those as well. And that's all I got for you. So happy betting, happy watching, and good luck.